Wuthering Heights is peak male horror. I've been telling guys for a long time that women are kind of sick in the mind. If you start investigating female fantasy, female literature, you'll start to get a glimpse of their mind. And I unfortunately have begun reading a lot and watching a lot of female romance novels and movies. Now, once you start understanding the underlying concepts of what these movies and books are based on, you're going to run the other way. Great philosophers like Orlando and Kierkegaard and Arthur Schopenhauer have been saying this for a long time. You must never try to understand women because you will begin to hate them. I just watched Wuthering Heights the other day as a form of research because I want to understand what these chicks like, what they're into. And it was one of the most scary, most horrific experiences I've ever seen. I looked behind me when the movie ended and all the women are crying. Oh my God, what a great romance movie. No, fuck no. For the guys who haven't watched it, let me give you a breakdown of what this movie is about so you have an understanding. The main characters of the movie are a girl named Kathy and a guy named Heathcliff. Now, Kathy is this somewhat rich girl raised in an abusive father's household. When the abusive father comes home one day and pretty much adopts a slave boy, finds a boy on the street, adopts him and says, hey, we're your family now. He looks at his daughter and goes like, this is your slave. Pretty much, this is your dog. This is going to be your pet. Like word for word said, this could be a good pet for you. And Kathy looks at this boy. He's like, okay, I'm going to name you. I'm going to call you Heathcliff because you're my dog. And then starts this weird, interesting relationship between the slave owner, Kathy, and the slave, Heathcliff, this young boy. They become best of friends. And because of this weird attachment, because of the fact that Heathcliff was abandoned by his own parents, he feels this weird connection to Kathy. He becomes almost obsessed with Kathy. Why? Because Kathy refuses to let him go. Kathy says, hey, I'm going to be with you forever. I'm never going to leave you. You are my pet forever. So you can understand how somebody who's been abandoned by his parents, will sort of get addicted to this, somewhat rich girl. The movie then skips to them older, shows a little bit of their relationship, their friendship. They don't really start making out or doing anything, but there's subtle underlying romantic tension between them. One day, a new neighbor moves into the little place that they're at. You have a neighbor, apparently a rich guy, and Kathy starts fantasizing to Heathcliff while Heathcliff is right next to her, saying, "Oh my God, this guy's rich. I'd love to go and talk to him, meet him. Imagine if I could marry him and be rich." Now, first you're thinking, oh, maybe she's just saying that to make Heathcliff jealous, and it does make him jealous. But no, Kathy does eventually go to the neighbor's house and tries to fucking romance the guy. The guy is named Lipton, a rich gentleman. Tremendous guy. You meet him, you'll love him. Very nice. She ends up really getting along with him. He proposes to her, and Heathcliff is not happy about this, so he runs away. Now, Kathy does love Heathcliff. She admits it to herself, but ends up marrying Lipton because she wants to escape poverty. She's sad that Heathcliff ran away, but she continues on with the marriage. And then what happens is Heathcliff comes back many years later while Kathy is now pregnant by her rich husband. And they end up getting into an illicit relationship, Kathy and Heathcliff, behind her husband's back. Now, Kathy's husband is a tremendous guy, treats her with all respect, adoring her, built a massive house for her, painted the walls in the color of her skin. But what does Kathy do? Go back to the arms of the fucking 6'2" homeless Chad. The only difference is homeless Chad is now a little bit of rich. He ran off to get some money. Now the slave boy is rich, comes back, and they start fucking. While she's pregnant. Now, she doesn't give a fuck. Kathy don't care that she has a husband. She don't care that she is pregnant with the husband's baby. No, she wants to go into Chad's arm and start doing it. Women are sick because they see this as a tremendous romance story. Oh my God, she got back together with the guy. Nah, this is a story about two very toxic, traumatic people, right? Who feel this possessiveness over each other, coming and screwing over this poor bastard rich guy who's providing. I've been saying it for the longest time. Wuthering Heights is just an example of what every woman wants. The woman wants a rich beta male Chad to marry, to give her all of the nice G-Wagon, the big mansion house. And then she wants the homeless 6'2" Chad that she meets under a bridge, that's jacked and deezed and sharp jawline, so she could cheat on him with. This is why every single middle-aged lady who has a rich husband ends up cheating on the husband with the pool boy. because they fantasize about cheating on their husband with the homeless Chad. Wuthering Heights is another such example. You see, Wuthering Heights, when it came out during the Victorian era, it was received very differently than it's received now. Nowadays, these incel Tumblr chicks, they all romanticize Heathcliff. Oh my God, Heathcliff's so good. Heathcliff is not good. Heathcliff is fucked up. But when it came out in the Victorian era, everyone thought this wasn't a romance book. They're like, oh, this is not a romance book. This is clearly some horror shit. This is transgressing moral boundaries. At least back then, the chicks had shame. The women would read this and like, oh my God, that's disgusting. These people are very bad. So it's like the book was kind of like exploring the depths of the darkness that romance could lead you in. The worst part is when Kathy decides to cut it off with Heathcliff. She says, no more, this is getting too far. And then Heathcliff is like, okay, you're going to do that? I'm going to marry your sister-in-law. And then Kathy loses her mind. She explodes. Like, what's the point of breaking up? Okay, go back to your husband. Who gives a fuck what he does? But no, when Heathcliff goes and marries a sister-in-law, Kathy loses her mind. And because she's so miserable and depressed, she doesn't even care to hide it from her husband. So Lipton knows 100%, fuck this bitch. She's sad because she stopped cheating on me. And she's so sad she has a miscarriage, bro. She induces a miscarriage, not caring at all. And then, of course, like Heathcliff is trying to get revenge, trying to make her feel worse and worse. Not realizing that Kathy ends up, because of the miscarriage, passing away herself. And then both Lipton and Heathcliff go and they're sad. And then Heathcliff snuggles up to her, cold, lifeless corpse. It was so disgusting, that last scene, like with that white, clammy face, and then Heathcliff kissing it. I'm like, is this female romance? Is this what you guys really like watching? This was a tremendous ending because they both got what they deserved. Kathy deserved, I'm sorry, to pass away. To leave the poor rich dude alone after causing him so much grief and corrupting him. And Heathcliff deserves what he got because look at what the fuck you've gotten yourself involved with. Huh? And it also kind of points out what type of guy that the chicks fantasize about. They need the alpha male 6'1" body, but with the beta male personality. Like, what respectable Chad man is going to go out there and get on his hands and knees chasing after a pregnant chick who's married? What? Who's going to do that? It's not going to happen. But of course, the author writes a story like this because she wants to justify married women having fantasies about other men. She wants to, justify it. Because think about it. The average viewer is going to be a married, middle-aged woman who's like, husband's not satisfying her, so she thinks of the pool boy. So she needs to write a story like this to capture the attention of these fucking dork women. I'm sorry, dork women out there. There ain't no 6'2" Chad who's going to fall in love with you. The max he's going to do is going to pipe and quit. Okay? Because ain't nobody falling in love with some pregnant married chick. Okay? That's not going to happen. It's a fantasy. They want to hit it and quit it. There is no such thing as a Heathcliff in real life. The closest thing you got is Orlando King. But I'm more like Genghis Khan. I ain't no fucking Heathcliff. I'm taking the brides, bro. I'm taking the bride women away from the husband and excommunicating the husband from the town. Get the fuck out of here. That is my wife now, and I have 10,000 wives. And I'm going to sire 1,000,000 children. This is prime alpha male. They don't want to hear it, though. They fantasize, oh my God, I want to have the freedom to marry a rich man, but go back to the slave Chad boy who, pleasures me and all. That don't exist, my friend. You dumb little girly girl. It doesn't exist. But alpha male Genghis Khans exist. I guarantee you wouldn't have these fucking thoughts if you were living on the Mongolian steppe back in the day. And Genghis Khan's, one of his children comes up to you. Let's say the Kublai Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan, says, from now on, you're going to be wife number 79. You think you're going to go like, no, I'm not going to be 79. I need to be the first. You're not going to say none of that shit. You're not going to be like, oh, I need my rich husband and I also want to cheat on him with the pool boy. You're not going to have these female delusion thoughts. You're going to be so ecstatic at marrying fucking Kublai Khan that you're going to forget about anything. And the best thing is Kublai Khan will punish the lady. He will punish her if she even thinks of doing some weird Kathy Heathcliff shit. It's not going to happen. So I suggest we kind of roll back society. We regress as a society and go back to the time of the Mongolian steppe. Because at the very least, there ain't no fiction, there ain't no movies romanticizing this bullshit Kathy Heathcliff relationship. I want to end on this note. I want to remind you guys that the movie and the book were never initially meant to romanticize this type of relationship. This is a story about traumatic events, about very possessive people who show the darkest parts of themselves while thinking it's love and romance. And it ends terribly. A real romance is about two people overcoming odds by doing the right thing and getting together. And it ends with a happy family and children. That's what a real romance should be. Not infidelity, not miscarriages, not passing away and kissing the cold, lifeless body of a... And not two husband and a Chad boyfriend, the Chad boyfriend who then enslaves the other sister-in-law chick, turns her into a dog. That's not romance. And if you're a chick who thinks that's romance, you need to do some self-reflecting. You need therapy because you're sick in the head. You are sick. You are not well. Orlando declares that you are unwell.